This fiberglass trunk lid has gone from a fun DIY project to an absolute nightmare. If you saw on my Instagram story the other day, the trunk filling up with water after I washed the car, that wasn't the only problem. That was just the breaking point after a series of unfortunate issues with this thing, and I'm gonna be putting the stock one back on today. But first, I wanna show you everything that went wrong with this project, all the little issues that I had so that we can all learn from this. I know there are some people who hated this thing from the start who are probably happy to see it fail, and that's okay too. I mean, I make mistakes, and I wanna show you guys what went wrong so that we can fix it in the future. First of all, the fact that this trunk is no longer being made or sold, it's like, I wonder why. Second, the fact that it had a bunch of manufacturing defects before I even got started when it was still a brand new part. It had a big crack along the top here because there wasn't enough resin material in the top part to make it strong. So I had to do some fiberglass repair, which was a good learning experience. A lot of the holes for the tail lights, the trunk latch, the little LED lights were too small, so I had to use my Dremel to take material off. That should have been a sign that this wasn't good quality. Like the whole time I'm doing all this stuff, I'm thinking, oh, this is a good learning experience for me. It's gonna make the result that much more worth it in the end. But now looking back, I realized it was just a piece of crap the whole time. For starters, the BMW roundel kept popping out, so I had to glue it in with shoe glue. Yes, shoe glue, the stuff that you fix your skateboarding shoes with. Now, for some unexplained reason, there were certain parts that fit very tight during the test fit that didn't fit at all after getting it back from the paint shop. For example, the trunk latch, I ended up breaking the stock one trying to force it in. I ordered a generic one off of eBay, broke that one trying to force it in, and ended up screwing that one in with self-tapping screws, which I'm not even gonna pretend that that's okay. That's gotta be in the top 5 most ghetto things I've ever done to a car. Now, while we're down here, we should talk about the backup camera, which used to work, but I'm guessing from being plugged and unplugged so many times, now it's got this weird error where when I shift the car into reverse, the camera actually works and it shows the video feed on the screen. But I get that annoying BMW gong sound and a warning message on my iDrive that says rear camera malfunction. I'm not really sure what that's about, but I picked up an extra one off eBay just in case, and now I'll have a backup camera. Now, I'm not sure what happened in between the test fit video and getting it painted and putting it back on the car, but it seems like the fitment is way worse than it was. I actually had to rewatch the video and see how it fit before. And for the past couple weeks, whenever I've had free time, I just come out here and mess with it and end up going back in my house all frustrated and pissed off. But one of the things is the trunk has these springs that help pop the trunk open, and these springs affect fitment. And over the past couple weeks, I've tried every possible combination with these, putting the spring on one side, putting the spring on the other side, having no springs, having both springs, and no matter what I do, with any combination of these springs, I cannot get it to work properly. Here's a view from inside the trunk with the trunk fully latched, and you can see daylight outside of the trunk. That's obviously not good. And the worst fitting part after reinstalling it is this intersection of the taillight that attaches to the trunk lid, and I'm pretty sure that's where a lot of the water was coming in from. Now, the intersection of the taillight has a rubber gasket here that's supposed to make contact with the trunk, and that's what seals from water from getting in, but you can clearly see a big gap right there, and obviously that's not going to work. Now, there's an inherent problem with the fiberglass material and the design of these inner taillights themselves. Basically, it hooks in on this side and then bolts in on the other side. Now, on a steel trunk, that's not a problem because the steel is a hard material and it's got something sturdy to latch onto. But with this, with the fiberglass, it's so flimsy that no matter how much I tighten that nut, it's still kind of loose, as you can probably see there, and it's only gotten looser over time from driving. And when I take it off, I'll show you, it's quite literally just hanging on by a thread. Now, another wear and tear item from a couple weeks of normal use is I see these cracks around the actual latch mechanism. Now, it's hard to tell if those are just cracks in the paint from it being torqued down, but it definitely doesn't give me confidence. And again, So I called my dad to get his take on it because, you know, dads always know what to do, and his suggestion was to try to use clear silicone to try to seal around the lights and at least make it waterproof, like if I actually wanted to keep using this. But the thing is, I don't want to have to be paranoid every time it rains if my trunk is filling up with water, or if I wash the car, I don't want to have to wash it a special way, or if I ever sell this in the future, I don't want to have to explain all of those things to the next person. So those are all the reasons that I'm going to be going back to the stock trunk.
You are watching a master at work.
So this is what I was talking about earlier. This is the inside where the taillight hooks onto, and as you can see, not good. So Katie hated that trunk from day one. She wasn't happy when she found out it was going to be $700 to paint it. We had to drive it all over the place. And what do you think now that it didn't work?
I told you so.
I know.
Listen to your wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It did look cool when it was on, but
no.
Well, let me know down in the comments if you guys have any car mod horror stories of car parts gone wrong. I'd love to hear those, but I'm just so relieved to have the stock one back on. Just the sound of it, that is what a trunk is supposed to sound like. So what are the takeaways here? Well, I have a new respect for people who like to leave their car stock. As the great Lil Wayne once said, if it ain't broke, don't break it. And I think if we were to make a flow chart of whether or not you should change something on your car, it's like, does it add to the performance? Does it add functionality in some way? And if it's purely aesthetic like the trunk was, is it at least up to the fitment and quality standards of the part that you're replacing? And if not, you probably shouldn't install it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking with me on this journey, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
If it ain't broke, don't break it.